Can I just start this off a little different here? So right now, the Dallas Cowboys and DeMarcus Lawrence are very, very far from making a long-term deal. The Dallas Cowboys have placed a franchise tag on their star edge rusher for the second season in a row. So DeMarcus Lawrence, our beloved Tank, played happily under the franchise tag and then balled out, making a Pro Bowl, basically earning himself a nice fat contract. Did the Cowboys know this? Absolutely. Did they do anything about it? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Because that would be too fucking easy, right? Too fucking easy to come to an agreement for a guy you know is going to get paid, but now, instead, this dude isn't going to show up, rightfully so, isn't going to show up till probably July, if that, needs shoulder surgery, won't do that, of course, until he gets fucking paid. Is that outrageous? No. The part that's fucking outrageous to me is some guy that produces for you when he needs to, when his back's against the wall, 1-year contract, proves himself again. What do? You can't come to a fucking agreement? How far below his market value did you go for him to be that insulted by your offer, Jerry Jones and Steven Jones and all the fucking Joneses? Sign the fucking man. Pay the man. Find somewhere in between your cheap ass offer and Khalil Mack money and get this guy in your locker room. Because, newsflash, your other fucking schmucks can't stay clean and get suspended every season. And you don't want to pay the one guy that produces for you? Give me a fucking break.
Wow.
On that note, welcome back to the number one podcast in your headphones. Prem Brulee. I'm your host, Premal Bot of the Play Call Network. Back keeping it spicy right off the top. I gotta mix it up. Blast your headphones a little bit. Wake you up. Without further ado, let's get into Yeah Fam or Nah. First up, gotta cover this very, very rich man, Bryce Harper, who signed a MLB record 13-year deal for a whopping $330 million with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Wow.
This deal includes no opt-outs, so Harper is there to stay in Philly for 13 glorious years. I'm sure he'll not get booed once by those very logical and very warm fans of Philadelphia. So a little breakdown for you. This from USA Today's Bob Nightingale. Bryce Harper's final 3 offers were reportedly 3 years for $135 million or 4 years for $168 million from the LA Dodgers. The San Francisco Giants offered him 12 years, $310 million. And of course, we already know their Phillies, who ended up winning this, offered him 13 years, $330 million. He has full no trade clause, no opt-out, no deferred money. And this information was from Darren Rovell, a little further breakdown. At $330 million over 13 years, Bryce Harper makes more than the annual median household income of Philadelphia every time he steps to the plate. Harper makes nearly $45,000 for every plate appearance of his, based on his career average. The annual median household in Philly, $41,500. To add more insult to injury for all of you out there, including myself, not as good at a sport as Bryce Harper.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
He gets $156,695 every game. So I am a yeah fam to this. Bryce Harper just did the unimaginable in the sports field. And that is, he secured job security and the very rare ability to set down roots in one place. That is absolutely unheard of. Even the best players switch teams sometimes, minus maybe an NFL quarterback. Not only that, the happiest for this news has to be Mike Trout. Mike Trout, in a couple years, will be in a similar situation and will undoubtedly draw a record offer. We'll just have to see how big that offer is. Some people say 400 million. Some people have even said up to 500 million. Some people said offering him ownership points. It could get out of hand, and Bryce Harper has been campaigning for Mike Trout twice already in his infant stages of being a Philly. So, of course, Trout is from Philadelphia, so Harper's really trying already. One last thing, Bryce, hit your boy up. I got some student loans. I think just, one game appearance would be more than enough. A couple games, if you throw in a couple game appearances for you, boy, I'm going to have my whole house paid off from you. So, please hit your boy up, Bryce. Okay, on to the NFL. A Super Bowl MVP, Nick Foles, was not franchise tagged by the Philadelphia Eagles and is expected to sign with the Jacksonville Jaguars. If we're talking yeah fam or not, I mean, hell yeah, I'm petty. We can sound it. It does have to do with the Eagles.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
But I'm a nod of this. The Eagles out here are acting altruistic as fuck, making it look like they were looking out for Foles and wanted to get him paid. We all can see through this, right? Like, they weren't getting good trade offers, so they just figured, we let Foles walk, we get a third-round compensatory pick next season. Get the fuck out of here. I see right through you, Eagles. Fuck y'all. You already got Bryce Harper. You don't get to be looked at favorably. You just won a Super Bowl. You're not lovable losers anymore.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
So I'm a nod of that. We'll have more on some recent offseason moves. Already ranted about DeMarcus Lawrence. Now we covered Nick Foles. We got a few other big names for you, so stay tuned for that. Last but not least, I told you the NFL Combine was coming. Well, now here we are a week later. The NFL Combine is complete after a week-long splitting up by position group. A few highlights to cover before I give you my takes here. Mississippi State's Montez Sweat, a 6 foot, nearly 6 inch, 260-pound man, ran a 4.41 40-yard dash. That is the fastest time recorded by a defensive lineman at the Combine since 2006. He also was faster than 21 out of 23 running backs who ran the 40 in this year's Combine. To add to that record year of 40s, linebacker from LSU Devin White ran a 4.40, which is the fastest ever by a linebacker. Of course, which has unfortunately been the trend, injuries at the Combine. You had Clemson defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence and Florida's Ja'Kai Polite, more on him later, also get injured during it. And one near and dear to our hearts here in Columbus, Ohio State's cornerback Kendall Sheffield, a former Alabama recruit who transferred to us and spent the past 2 seasons as a Buckeye, suffered a torn pec while doing bench press. It was especially shitty for Sheffield because he comes from a track background, and the thought was he was going to run the fastest 40 time of the Combine. He was reportedly tested at the high 4.2 range. So, very unfortunate for Sheffield. The Combine seemed geared towards him and improving his draft stock, so you just hate to see it on something like the bench press. And unfortunately, it starts a streak for Ohio State recruits because last NFL Combine, now Bengals offensive lineman and starting center Billy Price tore his pec doing the bench press at the Combine too, so I guess I'm kind of seeing why people skip that drill. And, of course, Kyler Murray, we'll get to him later. Stay tuned for that. I think you'll enjoy it. Overall, I'm a yeah fam to NFL Combine. Who would have thought, seeing a bunch of dudes work out in, skin-tight Under Armour would draw so much attention by so many football fans? And the idea that draft stock can be helped or hurt by how they run without pads on and in basically straight lines and weird ass drills. But I'm here for it. It builds suspense. The NFL knows how to do an off season correctly. So I'm a yeah fam to it. I don't know that I'm necessarily a nod to hindering a dude's draft stock if they don't test well by running a 40-yard dash super fast if you're an offensive lineman or something stupid like that. But overall, I'm a yeah fam. I can't act like I wasn't paying attention to numbers and excited by certain people just because they're freakishly fast. Although I'd prefer if big men everywhere stopped running freaky fast 40-yard dashes, starting to run out of excuses for the rest of us to be slow and unathletic here. Alright, likey, no likey, hate it time. I think it's a trend in the off season. I'm just more of a positive guy overall. I guess I gotta milk that while I can until football season starts, and I'll just be rattling off the no likeys and hate it's. But my first likey goes to my dude, Jason Witten, being back. Yes, sir. The future Hall of Famer ended his short retirement and short stint as Monday Night Football analyst to return to the Dallas Cowboys. Let's fucking go. Before I wanted to bask in my positivity, I wanted to take a second to address those of us that aren't just couch coaches, but couch critics of commentators all of a sudden. So with Jason Witten returning, you obviously heard the age-old joke. Everybody was just glad he hopped off the Monday Night Football coverage. How about this for you guys? Let me put this very clearly. All of you that feel that way can take that collective negativity and shove it up your collective asses.
Wow.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
I supremely enjoy everybody saying that they essentially hate every analyst. We got a problem with Chris Collinsworth. Got a problem with Joe Buck, Troy Aikman. What the fuck do you guys do? Watch in silence on mute? What's the alternative here? How about I need to see some proof of you watching it on mute? Don't talk about it, be about it. We can all be couch coaches and we all act like we could do a better job than these commentators. Some of these people complain about the commentators are boring as fuck. Just listen and appreciate the broadcast. The fuck else you gonna do? Listen in silence? Listen to classical music? The fuck out of here. Anyway, I'm glad my boys got my tight end back, leader of the locker room. I'm excited to see what happens as long as they freaking pay DeMarcus Lawrence. Bonus likey based off that Jason Witten return is that it inspired DeMarcus Ware to talk about, quote, getting the band back together and unretiring along with Tony Romo. Then former Cowboys backup Martellus Bennett joined in. Listen, I can't act like I hate this. DeMarcus Ware is still yoked. I know Tony Romo's a great commentator, but would I love to see DeMarcus Ware opposite DeMarcus Lawrence? Hell yeah, I would. I'm intrigued by it. My next and final likey goes back to the NFL Combine. Purposely didn't include this part, but one of the highlights for me was Ohio State wide receivers at the Combine. The 3 wide receivers that were invited all ran the 40-yard dash at 4.41 seconds or faster.
Wow.
You had Paris Campbell run one of the fastest times of the entire Combine at 4.31. Terry McLaurin ran at 4.36. And Johnny Dixon ran a 4.41. There's that Big Ten speed for you guys. Okay, my no like you was about DeMarcus Lawrence. I just couldn't wait. It's just fucking bothering me so much. I had to kick off the episode with it. But I just want to know why this is always the case with teams. Why are teams and their players so far apart? That quote, so far apart, is used so often by agents and teams. Why? There are other contracts that set market value. Use them as a guide. I don't understand what is so difficult about the little nuances. Just agree to a damn deal. In DeMarcus Lawrence's case, he balled out for you happily under a franchise tag, and you can't reward the man immediately? You're going to make him sweat it out till July, or go back and forth over some bullshit just because you undersell your initial offer? Why do we have to go through that back and forth? Just give the man what he deserves right off the bat. You penny pinching with millions of dollars? Don't get it. Okay, and I promised this earlier, teased it earlier. Didn't cover Kyler Murray in my NFL Combine spiel of the yeah fam or not because I couldn't do it justice just talking about it briefly. He deserves to occupy a hate it. I have hinted at this leading up to the Combine because it was reported that Kyler Murray was not going to participate in any drills. So, my hate it goes to Kyler Murray being potentially picked at number 1 as a real possibility after the Combine. Kyler Murray went and did get measured. He came in at a whopping 5 foot 10 inches and an eighth.
Wow.
A whopping 207 pounds.
Wow.
His hand size, 9 4/8.
Wow.
And widely known as a winner of the NFL Combine. They all want to talk about winners and losers. So this is what we're talking about here. This dude skipped every single fucking drill and just went in and got measured like we all do at a doctor getting a physical, a yearly checkup. This dude just got measured a few more, or maybe he's getting fitted for a tailored suit. This guy just goes in there, and because he's, I don't know, half an inch taller than what people expected and a pound more, basically just ate a bacon, egg, and cheese that morning, so he was a pound heavier than Russell Wilson was a couple years back. Now, all of a sudden, he is a winner of the NFL Combine.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
This is what we're talking about here? This guy, this is your number 1? A dude too much of a wimp to compete with others at the Combine, gets some crazy-ass hype train off of some fucking measurements? I'd love for someone to potentially say, I might be an NFL pick. I'll just go down, get fitted for a suit real quick, and then maybe I can be a number 1 too. So I'm too much of a wuss to go into Indy and throw some dimes like Dwayne Haskins did, but I can be Kyler Murray and not do any drills and just go to a pro day where people cook my numbers. Fuck all that, man. That's not a quarterback I want. It was reported that, he would have nothing to gain from doing these drills. You're damn right he would. The fact that he likes to fucking compete and prove he's the best. What does that tell me? He just came in and got measured and interviewed with teams when someone else would have killed to be part of all those drills. Get the fuck out of here, man. If you're going to be at the Combine, fucking compete. That's not my number 1. Dwayne motherfucking Haskins is. And that's Haskins spelled Hask, the number 1 NS. Give me my guy with the cannon arm putting on a clinic during the throwing drills over this schmo not doing a goddamn thing. Hate it goes to Kyler Murray. It's going to be so tough for me to root for this guy. It's time for my favorite segment. You played yourself. And sticking with the NFL Combine, a guy I mentioned earlier who got injured. Ja'Kai Polite, a defensive end from Florida. We're talking about winners and losers of the Combine. This one is definitely the latter. So Polite claimed in his interview with the press at the Combine that most of the teams he interviewed with were only interested in bashing him instead of focusing on his on-field production, which was tremendous. This past season at Florida, he had 11 sacks, 19 and a half tackles for loss, and 6 forced fumbles. Polite ran a 4.84 40-yard dash and had a subpar vertical jump before he pulled out of drills due to injury. And that injury is in massive air quotes, as most people did not buy it. Listen, I know Polite didn't intend it that way, and if you listen to his interviews with the press, it didn't sound as bad as some of the quotes that were found on social media about him complaining about teams bashing him. It was kind of along the chain of conversation. But Ja'Kai, you played yourself because it might not be the best idea to bash your pool of potential employers before you even get selected. Just probably not something you want to even be interpreted as whining about. And I don't really like the idea of people openly questioning his injury, but if so many people are, there seems something sketchy about it. That's all I'll say. You played yourself, Ja'Kai Polite. Hopefully for his sake and his future's sake, he still earns millions of dollars. It still is a first-round pick, and hopefully his bag doesn't get impacted too much. Next, you played yourself goes to the New York Football Giants. The Giants will be paying quarterback Eli Manning $17 million this year. Someone who they will be paying $0 this year is their former young star safety, Landon Collins. Instead of franchise tagging Collins, they let the young gifted player coming off of his rookie contract become an unrestricted free agent. You played yourself, the Giants. Someone's going to get really lucky. A dude in his prime will be joining an established team at safety, a plug-and-play starter. Not sure what the Giants are doing, but they must have some kind of plan in mind. Some other notable moves, we already covered DeMarcus Lawrence, Nick Foles, and now Landon Collins. But the other big franchise tag was the Houston Texans tagging Jadeveon Clowney. And a couple notable players released. The Ravens cut safety Eric Weddle, who played the past 3 seasons for them. And the Rams released their linebacker, safety, hybrid type player, Mark Barron, who will also be scooped up rather quickly. So, some notable moves in the NFL. But the ultimate you played yourself goes to the Giants. If you're going to cut money, but we're going to choose not to pay Landon Collins, one of your stars of the defense, other than maybe Alec Ogletree, and then we want to pay an aging Eli Manning instead. Got it. This next you played yourself. This seems like a repeat offender, and that's Kyrie Irving. Mr. Flat Earth himself recently is quoted as saying, "I didn't really come into this game to be cameras in my face, be famous, be a celebrity, whatever embodies that. It's a little hard for me. I wanted those things when I was younger, but now I just want to play basketball at a very high level." End quote. When are these athletes going to learn? Didn't we just go through this with KD? It is part of your job. And according to former players like Jalen Rose, it's a not very hard part of your job. It's part of that little trade-off of you playing at a high level, that there's cameras, press, and yes, fucking exposure in exchange for the millions of dollars you earn for playing the game you love. The reason why you make extra money and can do so, shoes, fans, all of that is aided by the fucking press and cameras in your face. No? You want to complain about this and that, about the press or cameras being in your face, and you made a goddamn movie called Uncle Drew! You realize how fucking stupid that sounds? When do athletes go from being human beings to so far jaded and up their own asses that they just totally lose sense of reality? They fail to realize what life's like for the rest of us peasants. When does that happen? When does he act like he's better for cameras? Like, if you don't like it and you just want to play basketball, this is what I said about Kevin Durant. Go find a gym. Go play at the Rucker. There's plenty of places to go play basketball if you don't want a camera in your face. That's really what it's about. Let's not fucking act like you're not getting millions of dollars and enjoying it. But the one part of your job that you may not like as much, which, by the way, can go a lot better if you just had some fucking media coaching and just said, "I'm good," or answer the fucking questions you're asked. Or deal with the camera following you as you come in from your car into the locker room. It's not that much. I don't understand. Maybe it's because I'm a peasant and not a star athlete. But you essentially want to complain about cameras being in your face when they can only help you? In the fact that you were chose to be in front of cameras in a movie? There's something fucking off here, man. Ever since he flat earthed this whole thing, Kyrie Irving's been just... I don't even know what's going on with this guy. Anyway, my last You Played Yourself is a little playful one, but I wanted to address this because I got a lot of heat for this very correct take, by the way. You Played Yourself goes to the people out here really thinking that there's better Girl Scout cookies than Samoas. You played yourselves. Everybody wants to go with the trendy tag-along pick. The other, by the way, a kind of acceptable answer is the classic Thin Mint, especially in the freezer. But you guys want to play yourselves and not have that refined palate like the Samoas called for? You played yourself.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Alright, next up, before I get to who you got and what you feeling, I wanted to do a little special edition, Should They Be Worried? And the two teams we're talking about are classic NBA franchises that are used to success, but are not performing up to expectation. And those two teams in the NBA are the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers. The Boston Celtics started their post-All-Star break schedule by losing 5 out of 6. They are currently the number 5 seed in the East. Are they maybe better without Kyrie? And who's to blame for their fall from last year's young team that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals? The Celtics only added talent with a healthy Kyrie Irving and now a healthy Gordon Hayward, but yet the result isn't as favorable. Should they be worried? It sounds obvious, but I really don't think so. You need a go-to scorer like Kyrie. It sure seems like they'd be better off without him, and I do think Kyrie Irving is as good as gone this offseason as a free agent. However, they should not be worried in the grand scheme. I think this is a team that has all the talent in the world that could turn it on come April, May, and June in the playoffs. So I'm not worried yet, and if they did lose, put it this way, I'd be very surprised, and that would be a huge disappointment. Over to the other end of the United States, the Los Angeles Lakers are a whopping over 4 games out of 8th in the West. They are coming off a loss recently to the Phoenix Suns.
Wow.
They probably need to win a good 75 to 80% of their remaining games to even have a chance. The Lakers recently put contract talks with Carmelo Anthony on hold as they decide whether or not to even keep trying for the playoffs. They are now a crazy number, plus 600 odds to make the postseason according to Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. And that is by far their worst of all season. Before their loss to the Suns, to put in perspective, they were at a plus 240. And at All-Star break, we're at a minus 110 to make the playoffs. The Lakers are a whopping minus 900 favorite to miss the postseason. Team with LeBron James on them might not be seen past the regular season. Sounds weird to say. Should they be worried? Absolutely. If you were to tell me a LeBron James team wouldn't make the playoffs, I would have called you crazy. Was not one of those naive enough to think they would make it far or upset the Warriors, but to make the playoffs, get in at least the 8th seed, the idea of them not doing that, I would have called you crazy. Now, LeBron did miss a chunk of games being injured. That didn't help because I would imagine if he played the entire season, they wouldn't be behind like this. Should they be worried? Absolutely, and I think everybody rightfully is. In the long term, I still think LeBron James is going to attract a free agent or two. So this might be the last year of struggles as far as missing the playoffs go. But for right now, hell yeah. Worried, panicking, all of the above. Alright, now it's time for Who You Got and What You Feeling. A recap of last episode. I talked about the potential of Bryce Harper considering a short-term deal instead of a 10-year contract. He had met with the Dodgers, who I outlined earlier, offered him a substantial per-year average, but as high as a 4-year deal, he chose to go with the long-term route. and that was with the Philadelphia Phillies. Ultimately turning down staying on the West Coast as he reportedly preferred. I talked about Le'Veon Bell being free from the Steelers and where he would potentially sign. Discuss possibilities of the Texans, Packers, and Jets, or maybe another one. I said Houston would be a great move because of the cap space they had, severely knocking on wood, but that must have not been enough because the Texans are reportedly thinking about committing to Lamar Miller again, which I don't fucking get. If you have a chance to get Le'Veon Bell, but lucky for me, that's not my own team's worries. I got plenty to deal with. This week, a couple hypotheticals, little college basketball related into NBA basketball. The first one is, with the number one pick in the NBA draft, is it Zion or the field? Would I take Zion Williamson or the other potential possibilities often named are Zion's Duke teammate RJ Barrett. The other big name is Murray State's Ja Morant. I gotta go with Zion. I think it'd be stupid not to take. Seems like once in a decade potential freak of nature, someone we might not ever see body type wise. I would have to go with Zion Williamson. I don't foresee a team passing on someone like that. This dude is an absolute freight train. He's a defensive tackle, being athletic as a LeBron James. Who's getting in this dude's way? It is borderline created in a lab type deal. Kind of sticking with that theme, a little college basketball as March Madness quickly approaches. A lot of people started into the season picking between Duke or the field. That's not enticing enough. It's easy to say I'd rather take the odds of the other 67 teams in the tournament versus just one. But I wanted to make my pick between ACC teams versus the field in the NCAA tournament. So those ACC teams, of course, we have three powerhouses near the top. That would include Virginia, UNC, and Duke. Or the field, which the top teams in the field include squads like Gonzaga, Kentucky, Tennessee, just to name a few. Listen, I think I'm going to go with ACC. Really love UNC. Now, Duke has an alarming combo of a majority of their points coming from two players in Barrett and Zion and aren't a very good three-point shooting team. But the NCAA tournament is full of stars, and when in doubt, who's going to get a bucket for you? So I like the fact that Duke has two go-to scorers to do so. So I think I'm going to take the ACC. I like Virginia. I love UNC spreading the ball. They have a scoring point guard who's Roy Williams is called as good as he's ever coached. So I love the possibility of having the ACC as a conference as a whole, but especially these three top teams in Virginia, UNC, and Duke versus the field. I feel a little bit better about that. As for what I'm feeling, it's got to be the hype train building around the start to the final season of Game of Thrones. I mean, the trailer just freaking came out, blew everybody's minds. And then Entertainment Weekly posted about their new issue with Game of Thrones interviews and cover pieces, and a piece that included the showrunners shooting for Breaking Bad level good for their finale.
Wow.
And that is a hell of a bar to set. If you're talking about a finale as good as Breaking Bad, I am so invested and so in and so pumped. April 14th can't come soon enough. Last but not least, my too much sense for the week. The advice you didn't think you needed. Didn't ask for, but I'm giving you anyway. This week, I wanted to talk about something I believe in heavily. It's never a bad time to gas up your friends and loved ones. Tell them you're proud of them. Tell them how great they are. Too often we take it for granted, and they don't get to hear it. So if you're proud of your friend, and which you should be, if you're happy to be with them, if they're looking good, if they've been working out, tell them you notice. Never hurts. Whether they claim they like it or not, everybody loves hearing that stuff. So, it's my too much sense for the week. And with that wraps up another edition, the number one podcast in your headphones. Don't ever get it twisted. Don't ever play yourself. It's Prem Brulee. As always, I appreciate the listens, the support. Please share this episode. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Subscribe, leave reviews. I greatly appreciate it. And please check out all the other podcasts at the Play Call Network. And we'll talk to you for the next edition.